record. Okay, I'm recording now. So I want for you all to get an A in this class, and there's no reason why you all shouldn't do really well. It's mostly a participation grade. That's like 80% of your grade. I posted your syllabus in Moodle. You can check that out. So yeah, all you have to do is show up and participate. And yeah, I want this class to really help de-stress your life, be like a safe resource for you to come to and breathe and stretch and move and relax. And hopefully you can take some of those tools with you when this course is over and you can remember and then apply them into your life. So I don't want this to be a stressful class for you all. If you have any issues with like Wi-Fi, or I think some of you have maybe roommates coming in and out, this is a weird time. So I think the professors at MHU are just being really lenient and understanding. And I think we'll all be back at campus later, soon, maybe, who knows. So I think I'm gonna have you do like one sort of assignment towards the end of the semester. I don't wanna create like busy work for you, but some like paper that will be like of your choice on the Yoga Sutras. And I'll give you a couple options of sutras you can write about, but like nothing big, like a one-pager. And then you'll all need a journal. So it can be part of a notebook or just a physical journal. And I want you to do a little entry after each practice. So today, this will be your second one. And I shared a document in our class, and that recording's on YouTube now, with some stuff about the Yoga Sutra and yoga philosophy. So if you wrote on Tuesday, you could have written about like the second sutra, which is the definition of yoga. Yoga is the stilling of the fluctuations of the mind. So yoga is quieting your thoughts. And it can also be more of a personal reflective journal. Like today, August 20th, we all did introductions, which was fun to get to see other people. And, Ruth took us through a class that I found was really hard, and sometimes I found my balance isn't very good, but like I almost fell asleep in Shavasana, and that was really nice. So just kind of noting like that. So that's the expectation for your journals. And then I'll be checking them in whatever way I can, either when we're together or you can take a picture and post it to Moodle. We'll just figure out how that goes at the time. So not a big deal as far as like the expectations and the grades go. I just want you to really like learn without too much pressure. So yeah, and I hope you all have this book. Some of you do not have it yet. And I'll also be giving you some assignments from here. Some of it is what we're doing like this semester, if we were in this condensed semester like we're in, or the length. There's so much to go over, and most of our time we're going to be doing movement and practices. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff about yogic philosophy in here. So you might want to read and move through that. And then there's a whole translation of Yoga Sutras, which I talked about in here. And it's set up, I'm on page 149 if you have it. This is the way like an interpretation of a Yoga Sutra will go. It has the Sanskrit, and then in the iconography, and then the translation, and then a little commentary about it. So yeah, that's the first chapter. So that might be something you want to thumb through. So texts of yogic philosophy are kind of the main texts are the Yoga Sutras, which we'll probably be going into the most. We talked about that a little on Tuesday. The Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, which we'll touch on a little bit. Some other things we're going to go over is the 8-limbed system of yoga. So yoga has 8 limbs. We've already done a bunch of them. So the third limb is asana, A-S-A-N-A, asana, which means postures, so the movement. So most of what we think about in like our Western world in modern times, when we think of yoga, someone like thinks about like girl wearing stretchy pants and doing tree pose. But that's kind of just like the tip of the iceberg, one little aspect of yoga. So there's asana posture, pranayama, which is breath control. So prana is life, yama is restraint, so controlling our life force energy. Prana is like life force energy. So controlling the breath. And when we really get control over the breath, we can control our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, emotions. And we've already gone over a couple breathing exercises, and we'll go over some more. Lots. I'm trying not to overwhelm you by giving you like all the things I know right away. So I'm gonna try to build, and then we'll repeat a lot, which helps with memory and retention. And I think if you can take away and remember anything in this class, it's probably gonna be like breathing exercises, because that can be really useful and powerful. Like if you're a senior and next year you're walking into job interviews, like in your car before class, like doing a couple deep breaths in through the nose, big cleansing sigh out of the mouth, a little square breathing to yourself, like before stressful situations. Those kind of exercises can be really powerful and life-changing, really. So those are 2 limbs of yoga, asana and pranayama. And then the first 2 limbs are yama and niyama. So these are, and this I'm recording and I'll put on YouTube, so you can come back to it and watch again. If you want to take notes, you can do that as well. So the yamas and niyamas are kind of like the 10 commandments, if you think about that, or like rules to follow by in yoga. So the first limb is yama, the second is niyama, then there's asana and pranayama. You know, at the end of last semester when we transitioned online, I did some like quizzes, and I don't really want to do that with you guys, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I do want you to like learn and have retention for all this. So yama, the first limb, means kind of social restraint. So these are the yamas and niyamas are yoga's 10 guidelines, ethical disciplines, precepts, restraints, observances. So they're moral disciplines and ethical guidelines, and they come from the Yoga Sutra. So they're like guardrails to keep us on the path. And yoga, similar to like other maybe like world religions or philosophies, just kind of has ways to teach you how to be a good person. So these are good kind of guidelines to live by. So there are 5 yamas, and I'll just quickly go over these, and then we'll do more later. So the first yama is ahimsa, which means non-harming or non-violence. And it's the first one on purpose. So thinking about compassion and approach every aspect of our lives from this non-violent lens. So you might know or heard that a lot of yogis are vegetarians. So thinking about everything you eat, not having harmed animals when you eat, that sort of thing is one example to practice ahimsa one way. And if you think living like a non-violent life, really practicing ahimsa is easy, you probably haven't like tried it, because you might notice that there's so much violence in our culture and our media that you might not even notice. So this could be something to observe, like the music you listen to, the news, television, even just like people out and about, like, oh, I crushed that, I smashed that. Like a lot of like language is kind of violent without us, like you're killing it. You know, it's really interesting. Like a lot of our language is kind of violent for, I don't know, for whatever reason. Even in your thought, word, and speech to yourself. You know, I don't know if anyone's ever been like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't record that Zoom recording, or like, I can't believe I forgot class. Why didn't I check Moodle? So a lot of us are pretty critical in our minds. I know I can be. So that's another great way to observe and notice and start to practice ahimsa, nonviolence. And so for your journal entry for today, you could also journal on some of these yamas or niyamas. So the second yama is truthfulness, which means satya. Honesty in thought, word, action, and wanting all those things to be congruent. And you know, satya can be tricky, because if your girlfriend asks you like, oh, do you like this dress? Does it make me look good? And you're like, ooh, no, that's really not a good dress, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. You know, there's always those little exceptions. So yeah, that's a tricky one to figure out, but even like those little things in your life, like lying by omission. So we never want to practice satya at the risk of ahimsa. So if we're super truthful, but then that can be harmful to someone, that's something to think about. So nonviolence, truthfulness. The third is asteya, which means non-stealing. And there are a lot of ways you might think like, oh, well, I don't shoplift, I don't steal. Like, yeah, that's great. But there's also other ways to steal. Like, are you someone who's always late? That's stealing from someone's time who's waiting for you, or how you're spending your time. Like, do you gossip a lot? That's stealing someone's reputation. Are you spending your time just like scrolling on your phone or watching reality TV? That's stealing from yourself. Or maybe like serving your highest purpose, doing something really beneficial to yourself and your community. So yeah, thinking about these yamas and niyamas through a broad lens, like where can I practice asteya, non-stealing? Like even sometimes like little things, like if we work somewhere and we're like, oh, well, I'm gonna steal some toilet paper or office supplies so they don't pay me enough anyway, like things like that. The fourth, so we have non-harming, non-violence, ahimsa, truthfulness, satya, non-stealing, asteya. The fourth limb is brahmacharya, which means maintenance of utility, vitality. So basically learning how to control your sexual energy. So it used to be translated brahmacharya as like celibacy, but if you're someone like we call a householder, so if you live in this modern world, if you have a partner, it's just kind of learning how to manage that energy, which can be very tricky, right? So brahmacharya, like right use of your sexual energy, things like if you're in a committed monogamous partnership, not doing anything that you wouldn't do in front of your partner, like flirting with someone else. Like the way you act is like the same as if you were in front of your partner, or whatever the terms of your like relationship are. Do you notice if you like flirt to get things, to achieve things? So having accountability around sexuality and relationships towards respectful of other people's relationships. So also practicing satya, truthfulness, and non-stealing within that realm of brahmacharya. So the fifth yama is apigraha, which is non-hoarding or possessiveness, non-grasping. So whether we like collect clothes, yoga poses, videos, Instagram followers. So notice where you might be hoarding and then taking, and then notice that might take away from others. So if we're always grasping for more, it strengthens the feeling of discontent. Like, have you ever thought about buying something and you buy it and you're like, yay, I love this. And then you're like, I want something else, right? And that's kind of the society we live in, right? It's like buy, consumerism. So a great way to practice non-hoarding is to do a shopping freeze. Or if you're a really vigorous like athlete, if you do a lot of like some of the poses we were doing, the style of yoga, vinyasa yoga, to like pause and do like a gentler practice. So kind of finding that balance where we're never taking more than we need, only what we need, the lens of more within, so there's no lack. So discipline in what we value and what we have, what we buy, what we want to collect, so we can go on a shopping spree, give to charity, practice more gently, that sort of thing. So that's the first limb of yoga, yama, those social restraints. So ahimsa, non-harming, satya, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, right use of sexual energy, and apigraha, non-hoarding, non-possessiveness. And some things you can think about are like which of these really intrigues you, which of these yamas would you want to dive deeper into, and if you really vigorously apply these principles to your life, you might notice your life changes a lot. Like, what would that look like? And it said that yama is the first limb on purpose. It used to be like in ancient days that you had to perfect all of these yamas before you could do any asana postures. So these are the 5 ethical precepts to live by. So that's the first limb. And the second limb of yoga is niyama, which is self-discipline. So personal disciplines, spiritual observances, it says that practicing the niyamas are how we have an adult relationship with ourselves, internal focus, how life begins to open up to us more fully. These are kind of the prescribed moral and ethical disciplines. And way to practice niyamas are like saying grace before meals, the little rituals, developing a personal meditation practice. Maybe every morning you pray before or during, like when you brush your teeth, contemplative walks. So these are all examples of niyamas in practice, designed to create well-being for ourselves and others. So the 5 niyamas, the first one is santosha, which means contentment. And that kind of goes along with the first yama, right? Ahimsa, nonviolence. So santosha, contentment. And we can practice santosha by practicing gratitude, being really deeply grateful for everything in our life. It's easy to focus on lack and say like, oh, I wish I was thinner or stronger. I wish I went to this school. I wish I had this partner or more money. But what is it like if you really actively practice gratitude? You can write a gratitude list every day, do gratitude meditations, gratitude letters, like sending people a letter of like what you appreciate and what you're grateful for in their life, like your best friend or someone in your family. So that's a way to practice contentment, santosha. The second niyama is saucha, which means purity or cleanliness. So this comes up a lot. I live in Asheville and I teach yoga in Asheville, and a lot of people here like don't wear deodorant or can get really smelly and have armpit hair. So when we come into a yoga room, obviously we're all separate. We want to be clean and smell good so that like our smelly bodies don't like disrupt other people. So that's one like kind of obvious definition of saucha, cleanliness. You can also practice saucha, like what does your car look like? If you have a car right now, do you have like trash and water bottles and dirt all over? You know, everyone has that junk drawer somewhere in your desk, in your kitchen. So cleaning out your car, getting rid of your old clothes, organizing your closet. And I don't know about you, but whenever I have to like sit down and do a lot of work, I always like clean everything before, because it just feels better and lighter. Like, have you ever gotten into someone's car and there's like dog hair everywhere and it's just like a mess? And then sometimes you get into someone's car and you're like, wow, it's so clean in here. It just feels better. So that's practicing saucha, purity. The next niyama is tapas, which means heat or self-discipline. So tapas is kind of like that light underneath us that we need to like get going. Sometimes, you know, we're feeling lazy or tired or not motivated, and we just need a little, like a little push, a little energy. That is tapas for discipline. And tapas is like a driving force that we need to, you know, move us forward. The next niyama, the fourth one, is svadhyaya, which means self-study or inner exploration. And being a yogi, practicing yoga, is a lot about svadhyaya, self-study. So living the like examined life, like noticing like, wow, why is it every time I come home, I put on Real Housewives or like Bravo right away? Like I always have to have music going, or I'm always listening to podcasts. Like, what is that? It's like, maybe there's part of me that doesn't like the quiet and the stillness, that always needs a distraction. Or like, why is it every night I like binge eat chocolate or like drink a ton of wine? So when we practice svadhyaya, we're practicing really observing and noticing who we are, which starts to maybe get a little bit deeper into like why we're here. Like, why am I an art major? Like, why am I studying economics? Am I studying economics because my dad told me to? And he said the only reason I'm in college is to get a good job after and make a lot of money? Or do I really want to study economics because I'm interested in that? So just really learning to look at our lives in like a deeper lens, which is not always easy, right? So that's the fourth niyama, self-study. And the fifth niyama is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrender to God or surrender to a teacher. And I know Mars Hill is a Christian school, and I don't know if you all affiliate yourselves with a religion or you consider yourself spiritual. But there's something that we might find in our yoga practice after moving a lot. You might feel it like an energy or like an excitement or like a presence. And that can be God, Jesus, Buddha, whatever it may be. You're agnostic or atheist, and that's totally fine. The surrender can just be surrender, period, or surrender to my teacher or to a bigger group. That can mean like heart of the universe, consciousness, flow, love. So whatever that might be for you. So that's the 5 niyamas. So the niyamas, personal observances: santosha, contentment; saucha, purity, cleanliness; tapas, self-discipline, heat; svadhyaya, self-study, inner exploration; and ishvara, pranidhana, surrender. So those are the 5 yamas and niyamas, kind of these 10 guideposts to live on this yogic path. So throughout the semester, we're going to continue to like talk about and learn the 8 limbs of yoga, talk about the Yoga Sutras. I want to do a lot of meditation and breathing exercises with you all to deepen these practices so really feel it physically embodied. And we'll also talk about kind of the subtle energy channels in the body. So the 7 chakras, which you might have heard about, this kind of energy up and down the spine. It's called the Sushumna Nadi, from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And there's an energy called Kundalini, which there's a whole branch of yoga called Kundalini Yoga, which is about awakening this energy. So it's like said that there's this like snake coiled at the base of the spine, and it goes up and down like on either side of the spine, and it will come up the crown of your head and like out through your third eye, and you have these crazy experiences. You can take all of this with a grain of salt. It's kind of like ancient myth and philosophy. So I just want to give you all as much information as you can get about this practice of yoga. And then, like I said earlier, you can take it with you and start to apply some of these principles into your life. So let's just kind of close in a seated position. So sit tall, sit well. If you're in a chair, you can sit kind of with your back away from the back of the chair. Lift tall for your spine. Let your eyes close. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And let a big sigh out of your mouth. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale out. Close your eyes, close your mouth. Start to breathe deeply in and out of the nose. Maybe feel the belly rise and fall. And when we make the breath the same length, that's called samavrita breathing. So sama means fluctuation, vritti is length, so the same length. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale the same length. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And just follow your breath like that. There's another breathing exercise, pranayama, called anapanasati. Anapanasati, which means mindfulness of the inhales and the exhales. So just feeling the breath moving in, moving out. Notice how it feels to breathe in deeply, breathe out completely. I'm going to invite you throughout the day, tomorrow, this weekend, to practice some of the breathing exercises we've done, whether it's just taking a long breath in and out, even breath, a square breathing, or lion's breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and stick your tongue out. Exhale, relax. See if you can maybe do a little bit of pranayama every day. Next week we'll learn some more. So that's it for today. This should be recorded, so I'll post this on YouTube. Your only assignment so far is to do 2 journal entries from Thursday and today. And I will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 a.m. on Zoom. I'll post the Zoom link in Moodle and let me know if you have any questions about anything. Okay, bye everyone. Have a great rest of your day.